Great night for Arsenal then. They are top of that Champions League phase table with 6 wins in 6. Absolutely fantastic. They are 6 points ahead of 9th place Liverpool. British teams doing quite well, of course. Liverpool, as I say, in 9th, Tottenham in 11th, Newcastle in 12th after that draw today. Leverkusen and Chelsea are in 13th. Well, let's hear from the Arsenal boss then. Mikel Arteta has been speaking with Liam.
Wow. It puts Arsenal top of the table as well, still right up there in first, Bayern in second, PSG third, Manchester City in fourth.
Yeah, no worries. Calma. Table time tonight's going to be lovely.
Yes, we're looking forward to a special edition.
Oh, we've got something special tonight.
Yes, you did. You're into
Liverpool have just seen dropped out the top 8.
Oh, yeah, but you got to be there at the end. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Actually, a little bit, Joe, I want to ask you again. You know, you've been part of winning sides, you know what it means, and Shay as well, you know what it means to put a team together to go through the hard times and come out the other end. And Arsenal have come out second best for a couple of seasons now, and a lot has been levelled against them in terms of their mental fragility. And I just wanted to know your thoughts on whether the side that you're seeing now looks like a side that could actually potentially go all the way now.
Well, I think they're a quality team. No doubt they've got quality players. And it's not necessarily their mental fragility, it's just the powerhouses that they've been up against. We saw in recent seasons how City, when it comes to showtime in March, they've just been able to put their foot down and just relentlessly win games. Liverpool did it last season, obviously not so much this season. And Arsenal, just in those big moments, they've always looked quite good recently over the start of the season, but credit to them. They've had some really good results and some really good performances. But tonight's important. You have to bounce back. You are going to lose, simple as that. Like, you are going to have these moments. Even the great teams through the leagues have had to take punches on the nose, but it was a good one tonight, changing the team up a little bit. People have come in, done well. They've got, like I say, Jesus coming back. Feel good going into that Wolves game.
Yeah, and that's the key, isn't it? When you can change your personnel around and still get the result, it means that the foundation is so solid. And this is what Mikel Arteta has always said, trust the process. And it feels as though that is where they are right now.
Yeah, but he has spent a lot of money as well. He has spent a big number on a squad, probably one of the strongest squads in Europe. And they should be competing on all fronts, they really should. And they should be able to make lots of changes like tonight, whatever it was before the game, and still win the game in Club Brugge. The thing for me is Arsenal, we're in December now. Can we talk about Arsenal in March, April, when it comes down to the home straight? Can they get their hands on this silver, be it the Premier League or be it the Champions League? Because I think this squad and this team and this manager are good enough to do that. But it's the psychology of the whole thing. Can they get across that final hurdle? There will be bumps along the road. There will be, defeats like Villa last weekend. They bounce back tonight. But when it comes right down to the wire, I think Fergie called it squeaky bum time. When it gets to that home straight, can they get across the line?
Well, this is the test for them, isn't it? And we saw them, as you say, with that defeat at the weekend, ending that 18-game unbeaten run, and they had the perfect response tonight, and some really beautiful goals as well. Let's start with Mikel Madueke, who scored first, and this was 25 minutes. What a run, what an individual performance from him, Joe.
Yeah, good ball into him there from Zubimendi. As he takes it on, he's only got one thing on his mind, to cut inside. I think just as it opens up for him, it's such a good hit. It's unsavable. Van den Heuvel came in tonight. I think he was a late replacement for Simon Mignolet, but no one's saving that. Excellent. It's such a good moment. He's been on the kind of fringes of things at Arsenal. That's a great goal.
That's what I'm talking about, the squad, but they rested Saka tonight, and you spent a big number on this guy, and that's a phenomenal goal for him as well. Remember last season, if Saka doesn't play, Arsenal are not the same. Yeah. When you got somebody like Madueke to come in, I don't know if it strengthens them, but they've got big competition for that position now as well.
It's an incredible reinforcement, and actually end goal for Arsenal. And he did score his next one, which we will see in a moment. But it's almost like London buses, isn't it? You wait for your first goal, and all three come in the Champions League. He scored one against Bayern last time out, scored the opener tonight, and then he scored the second as well. This one probably not as magnificent as the first, but you'll take it.
Zubimendi got an assist for the first, which I don't agree with, but this is what I call an assist. If you watch the ball from Zubimendi, this is world class. And keep an eye on Madueke. We've let him up inside the box because he's actually playing nearly as a second striker next to Gyökeres. I think the young goalkeeper makes a bit of a mistake. If you keep an eye on him, he takes a couple of steps forward as Zubimendi crosses. Then he's in no man's land, and it's a simple header at the end of the day. But when we're talking about assists, Zubimendi wraps his foot around that brilliantly, and Madueke's like, I'm not going to miss from a yard out. It's a brilliant night for him.
And there he is, man of the match, so deserved as well. And I think we hinted at it at half-time that it's inconceivable to think that there was that small section of Arsenal fans that were so against him joining because he was coming from Chelsea. But that is a quality player who's probably taken a bit of an unconventional route to come to this level. But for coming from the Dutch league, actually, even though he started his career in England. But, you know, it just shows that there's a quality player in there. He just needed the right home, the right place at the right time.
Yeah, well, Mikel Arteta put his neck on the line, no doubt.
That you come in and play it. And he has been managing a lot of injuries in this team.
Yeah, we were counting there off the break, seven players out, I think it is. And,
senior players.
And senior players, first team players that would probably start in any big game that he would have. So again, he's managing that. But again, going back to what I said before the break, it's about the squad of players he's built over the last 3 or 4 years. You know, you would struggle to find a stronger squad in Europe. I really think that in all departments. You know, Madueke there comes in for Saka tonight, scores 2 goals, gets man of the match. Martinelli on the other side scores. And again, Zubimendi was involved, a couple of assists from him. You know, players like that are so important to this group. I mean, it'll all depend what happens at the end of the season. They're on a really good pathway at the minute. And again, they've had so much, I suppose, negativity thrown their way when they finished second 2 or 3 times in the Premier League. You know, not got the semi-final of the Champions League, and they're called the nearly team in inverted commas. Until they get their hands on a big bit of silverware, then it'll probably flow after that. You might see a few years of dominance from Arsenal because this squad is strong enough to do that.
And, you know, as a group, you'll be so desperate to kind of get to that next level, wouldn't you? And even with all the new arrivals, everyone has seemed to assimilate very well. And it feels that, as you were saying before, they're all singing from the same hymn sheet. They all know what the brief is for this season as well. And it's just creating that squad harmony and that unity. And despite having those selection dilemmas, it feels as though mentally that they're on the right track in terms of as a group. They're all very united.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to create, and you do have understanding when people aren't playing. But you've only got to look over at Liverpool. You know, obviously everything last season, everything was coming out beautifully. This season, few cracks, lose a few games. That's when you see how people react, how players react, how they interview. And that's so important for Arsenal because you know the pressures will come if they don't win consistently. But like we say, it's not about that right now. They've been excellent. They've built a really good squad. People coming in, they're contributing. Excellent, like I say, but they will have their moment. It's how they react when they have that moment.
Yeah, well, the first reaction was tonight, and they got the victory after defeat at Villa a couple of days ago. They have Wolves at home on Saturday. That one's live on TNT Sports, and Saturday evening, actually, an 8 p.m. kickoff for that one. You would probably assume by Wolves' awful run of form, very unfortunate at the moment, that Arsenal, particularly at home, can do very well. Then they travel to Arsenal. They've got Crystal Palace at home, Brighton at home, Aston Villa again at home, which will be an interesting grudge match, and then Bournemouth away. Any of these fixtures worry you at all?
Well, the Villa one jumps off the page because of what happened just at the weekend gone. I know it's a close sort of come around, normally a few months in between the fixtures, but I'm sure Arteta's team talked before that game, although they done us in the last minute. But what it did sort of like from an Arsenal point of view, I know they didn't like to lose in the last minute the other day against Aston Villa, but the players' reaction, Raya, Rice, all the players were literally collapsed to the ground and they were banging the floor because they knew how important it is to get the job done, to stay in this class unbeaten run, 18 I think it was, but that's gone now, and now it's about, as I said before, there'll be bumps on the road. It's how they respond, how do they react as a group, as the manager as well. He's got to keep the lid on things, even after the Aston Villa result. He's got to come in the next day, be bubbly, be fresh, let's park that to one side. It's all about Club Brugge now, and then now it's all about Wolves. We have to just keep that sort of momentum going throughout the course of the season, and there will be bumps along the road, but there's a blue big lorry coming behind them in Manchester City in the Premier League as well, only 2 points behind them, and they've not hit the heights that we know Man City can hit as well. So in the back of these players' minds and Arteta's mind, that will be a concern as well.
Either in the Champions League, even though they're very, very much in a good place, but certainly in the league, as you say, that big blue lorry is coming at them. Only a couple of points between them. Yeah, of course, and Man City are always going to be there and thereabouts, and by their own standards, I think they'll be disappointed with this season, but they're coming into it. Big result out in Europe tonight. They've had a few close scares, probably too many goals.
What impressed you most by your team tonight? Well, we know how difficult it is to play in the Champions League and to win away from home, and especially when we have that many players out, it makes the task bigger. But I talked to the boys. It was about showing how much we wanted, the resilience, and how we prepared. And I think there were some great examples. For example, Christian Norgard, which is a player that probably prepares the best out of all of them, and is somebody that makes all of us better every single day. And who needs to play in any position, any condition, whether he plays more or less minutes, his attitude is always immaculate, and that's a really good example for all of us.
On more or less minutes, as 2 goal scorers today come in, show their worth again, it's going to make your job a little bit harder if they keep scoring goals. Yeah, the fact that we have now the attacking players back, I think both of them, Noni and Gavi, were outstanding today. The level of threat they give, the 2 finishing are spectacular. And then as well, obviously, Gavi Jesus back after 11 months and this so difficult journey that he's been through with all of us, and to see him perform as well in the manner that he did, really, really positive.